Alright guys, after talking with Margaret today, I'm going to try to help make sense of all this for you guys so you know what to do. The report that you got from that guy is just a website report, and you can get it from SEO site checkup.com. It'll look like this. If you don't have an account, you can only run one checkup every 24 hours. If you sign up for a free account, I think you can run 25. So anyways, this is what it looks like. You might as well just sign up for an account, and then once it's done, this is what it will look like in the back end. To do a scan, obviously you just put in the URL that you want to scan. Every URL is going to be different, so the home page analysis will be different from back page, and so on and so forth for all 100-some pages. So I went through and I optimized the home page and the back page is the best that I could. Obviously, some stuff just can't be optimized, and I'll explain that a little bit more in detail. But also, if you guys sign up for the free account, you can also compare it to your competitors. So I know Margaret said that's something that she'd like to do. You can kind of see how they rank as well. So let's just get started. You put the URL in here, and adoption is one of them that I did. And you just click on Analyze My Website. And you can do 15 every 25 hours, or every 24 hours with a free account. So that takes just a little bit of time. Actually, while it's doing that, I mean, there's really nothing to talk about until that's done. So on the back page, there is an SEO plugin that is built in. It's available on every single page, the Yoast SEO. So for the adoption page, you want to put your focus keyword in here, so what you'd like to rank for. I just put the word adoption, and just to show you, once you put a word in here, it will tell you, are you matching all these things, yes or no, and then that's also what it will base the page analysis off of. So let's put adoption back in, and of course, I already did all this. The SEO title, which is a title that is suggested to Google and Bing and all them, but it's not required by them to accept or use. So I put international child adoption, and then the meta description. What a meta description is exactly is this. So if you put a meta description in, you are suggesting to Google and everyone else that they should use your specific handwritten description versus what they pull from the page. They may or may not use it. It's completely up to them. It is good practice to use it, but again, it's all going to be what they decide to do. So I mean, obviously they do use them fairly often, unless they think your keyword stuffing or what you're suggesting just isn't relevant. So right there is a meta description, and I mean it's the same thing. It's the actual black text underneath of the Google result. So I mean, you can just type in what best fits the page. Meta descriptions are limited to 156 characters, and as you type, you can kind of see what actually comes up here and how many characters are left. So again, I just did this one so I could show you guys. And then once you get all that set up, you can go to the page analysis and have it redone. Under the advanced tab, though, you always want to make sure that follows on, index is selected, and that you copy and paste the identical URL of the page, which you can do by just right-clicking View Page, copy link URL, and then paste it down here, and you have to make sure it's absolutely right, or else you're just going to hurt yourself. So, obviously that is the correct one. If you want to get Facebook titles and Twitter titles and all that kind of stuff, you can do that. So once that's done, normally it will give you, an SEO analysis, and that's what this color is. You can see that it's bad, and it's actually for a pretty simple reason. But anyways, on every single page, once you fill out the first page, you can hit check, and then it will bring you down to the page analysis. The reason that it's red is the keyword density is almost 6%, which is over the advised 4.5%. And the reason that that's ranking poorly is because Google will think that you're keyword stuffing the page and de-rank you for that. You can also run flesh reading ease tests on pages, which a computer is guessing how hard or easy it is for a human to read and understand the words on the page. Obviously, the easier it is, the better it is for everyone to understand. And a lot of that has to do with using smaller words and so on and so forth. It's kind of goofy. But obviously right here, if you read all of this on every single page, it will kind of guide you in what direction that you want to go. So that's specific page SEO, which needs to be done on every single page. Media. One of the biggest things that it's talking about is that there isn't alt tag attributes on the media files. So to do this, obviously every single image has to be done unless it already had an alt tag attribute. I've already went through and I've alt tagged all the template files that are called specifically like this, these little guys, like stuff that you guys can't edit. I've already gone ahead and added the alt tag code. And what you'd want to do is you'd want to go to just click on the image, and you can see here you can change the title of the image to better describe what the image is about, and then also the alternative text. So again, it's kind of like using keywords to better describe what the image is about. The only thing that changing image titles and image alt text will do is it will actually help to rank you on images, which most people only come here to look for an image that they can use for something. I mean, right here they could just go to only view image. They won't even see your website, and they can save the image. So that's really what alt tag and alt titles are about for images, is that it helps you rank specifically for images. It does slightly mix in with the rest of the SEO on the page. Again, it's all about what Google decides to do whenever they're reading your page with algorithm. So, does it hurt you to do it? No. Does it really help you to do it? Not necessarily. So, there's a lot of images. If you guys want to go one by one, I think that's overall a good idea. Because a lot of these just, this picture is just called Pierce 2. So it's not very descriptive of what the actual picture is about. One thing that it did knock us for on the homepage, this is a new test that was ran, it's 81 out of 100. It was, I'm looking for it, underscores and links. And what it was image files. So whenever you're uploading an image file, you need to make sure that if anything, it's using a dash instead of an underscore. And all you have to do that is just rename the image file before you upload it or use it in the website. So that's really easy to avoid. It just takes a little bit. It's like 1 second just to double check. All right, so let's go over their checkup score. So I'm only going to cover the things that are still red. Social media activity. I'm sure Brian could better cover that. Really, it really simply, it's just gathering how many likes or plus ones or comments that you've had specifically, about your website. And I mean, you can see it's not very many there. Page object requests has more than 20 HTTP requests, which can slow down the page from loading and blah blah blah. So on this specific page, these are all the images that are being called to load. There's scripts that are being called to load, CSS files, HTML pages, and total objects. I mean, getting this down to 20 is impossible. It's just not doable unless you have a website that only has like 5 things on it, and it's about as basic as humanly possible. JavaScript minification tests. I have minified every single JavaScript that I can. Here's all of the JavaScripts total. These are all of them that have been minified. Of course. Yeah. And these are the ones that are not. I'm not able to minify these because it will mess up how the specific content works. So like if we try to minify these, the MailChimp sign-up form wouldn't work. Logging in to Waiting Children wouldn't work. Private content. And also the contact forms wouldn't work. So, like it's just not possible to do every single thing that they say on the list. Again, CSS files. Most of these are called by the theme, and they need to be available on every single page load so the page loads correctly. Again, I've tried to minify a lot of these, and what happens whenever I do, of course it isn't pulled in correctly, and I mean the whole theme gets thrown off. So yeah, minifying stuff is great. It helps with page speed, but there's only so much that you can actually minify. I did correct a lot of the other errors. Site loading speed test. This page loaded in 10.6 seconds, which is above the average page speed of 5 seconds. That's also the first load, and the loading time is all going to depend on the person's internet speed. So, I don't know if they're actually testing these sites with 10 megabytes a second, 20, 30, 40, 50 DSL dial-up. So, I mean, that's all kind of, it's just in the wind. I mean, the page loads much faster than 10 seconds for me, and I never call a cache, because every single time I'm making a change, I make sure to not call a cache with it, so that way I'm not pulling any of the saved resources. Obviously, whenever you pull saved resources, you don't get to see the changes that have been made right away. A lot of this stuff's server insecurity. Your site's IP does not redirect to your site's domain name. It does, actually, because if it didn't, then our website wouldn't work. But what it's saying is that if someone directly typed in the IP address 192.168.231.202, that it wouldn't redirect to our website, and it won't. Mostly because we're on a shared server, and that's the reason it's $10 a month instead of whatever you guys were paying before. But also, no one that isn't just trying to do something malicious is going to directly type in your IP address. I mean, no one. I don't know anyone that's done that since 1990. Whenever I was a little kid, I used to just type in random numbers to see what pulled up. And you still can today, actually. You can just type in random numbers and see if you get a page request. But again, I mean, it's not going to affect anyone. Server signature test. If you want to pull what kind of server is running, it will report back what kind of server is running. And even here, turn off your server signature is generally a good idea from a security standpoint. We really don't manage the security of our server. That's the reason that you pay someone else to. Server security is all on them. So if their server gets hacked or cracked or destroyed, that's 100% on them. And also, I mean, there's nothing we can do to change that. That's just how Bluehost and and guarantee pretty much every other server company will be. If you rent your own server, obviously you can configure your own server however you want. Perl access test. It botnet scripts are looking for vulnerabilities, so it's bots that constantly scan your website. And even though they have access to it, I have security plugins that specifically block bots, and that's what WordFence is and security. So whenever they detect that a bot is accessing the page too frequently, or accessing pages that are known vulnerabilities, and it's not a real person, it will actually block that IP for the next like 2 months. So it shuts down bots fairly quickly. HTTPS checker. Normally you only want an SSL, which is Secure Socket Layer certificate. If you're running a website where you're taking people's confidential information, mostly that goes to credit cards, and it encrypts the data while it's being sent and while it's being viewed. Stuff like banks use it, and all that kind of stuff. So we can turn on an SSL if you want. I think it costs like $100 more a month, I believe. It's like, again, it's not really necessary. It's not really what you guys do. Most of the time it's only used in like stores. For example, like Art of Cloth, whenever you go to the checkout, put in your credit card information, it will only render over SSL. And again, so here's another one. We're getting knocked for plain text emails. And what it's saying is that we shouldn't be displaying adopt@eaci.com in a plain text, which, I mean, it's all preference. Like bots will scan the site looking for emails, and they will harvest it and do whatever they want with it. But that's kind of what spam filters are designed for. So, again, we can replace it so it doesn't look like an email address. So, I mean, they suggest using, instead of @ we use it in a bracket, and the dot is also put into a bracket. Suggest replacing text with images, and yeah. So I mean, again, we can do all that. The downside is if someone wants to just copy and paste your email to email you by Google, they can't. They'll either have to write it down themselves or just type it in themselves, which isn't the end of the world. So if you guys want to do that, right now whenever you click on it, it does try to use your default mail app. So you can see that's Outlook, and that actually won't change if we change it to an image. So I really don't know how to pronounce this. A canonical tag checker. So what this does, if you have duplicate pages with the same content, you're going to suggest to Google which one of the URLs that you'd like it to go to, so you don't get knocked for duplicate content. You guys really don't have duplicate content. Each page is unique and has different content than the others. Again, just to make this thing happy, I did put a link in there, and on the back page that is part of this SEO program. So if you go to advanced, this is the URL link. Again, even though it's docking points for us, it doesn't really apply to us, because normally it applies. So a good example, when I was researching it, normally it applies to like stores who will have a picture of their shoes in 4 different categories. So instead of Google knocking you for having 4 different page URLs for the same content, you suggest to Google, all right, all 4 of these pages are the same exact thing, but I'd only like you to serve this page. Again, it won't hurt us to do it. It won't help us either. And that's actually it's actually just about everything. That should explain everything. Um, and like you can see, it's at 81 now. I'll send you guys these reports. Um, if you guys got any questions, let me know. Ideally, you want SEO to be done by someone who's really good at SEO, or someone who really knows the content on your page. Um, so again, checking this page, they want you to use the word adoption less times to help you better rank for it. Um, and I mean, honestly, besides just stripping adoption out of a couple of these paragraphs, I wouldn't know the best way to rewrite the paragraph. And that's really what they're telling you to do, is to remove the word adoption from at least a couple categories until it falls into the ideal keyword percentage. Or you could just write a paragraph on the bottom, and that would make your keyword density go down, just because you're adding more words. Um, yeah, so I mean, hopefully that covers everything. Hopefully that helps you guys understand it a little bit more. Again, as always, if you have questions, call me, text me, email me, and I'll do my best to get back to you.